What is Learn Outside? Learn Outside is a fascinating approach in the education field that allows students to expand their knowledge beyond the walls of the classroom. It is a metaphor for the idea that learning should be done not just within the walls of the classroom, but also outside of it. It encourages both literal and metaphorical educational attributes, such as outdoor activities, field trips, and hands-on experiences and project-based learning. This experiential approach encourages students to explore their environment and to use it to help them understand their world better. This approach helps student agency and the gaining of a deeper understanding that they can apply in a relevant real-world situation.
Description of today's episode for Learn Outside, where we will learn more about the unique Learn Outside approach at Success Academy Boys and Girls Club that will open this August 2023. We will see how experiential learning will be embedded at Success Academy Boys and Girls Club and the professional development that staff will receive to be prepared for leading Learn Outside. The importance of the teachers being hired have to be invested in the experiential learning approach, as well as how to develop community partnerships. Learn Outside takes place daily at Career Academy Network of Schools. Thank you for joining us for Learn Outside, an informal discussion about innovative and effective teaching practices that disrupt the status quo in education. Practices that activate the superpowers in educators and students. This podcast series is hosted by myself, Dr. Candy Van Buskirk, Assistant Superintendent at the Career Academy South Bend, and
Dr. Marilyn Nash. I'm the K-5 Maker Manager here at Success Academy, also a part of the network of schools.
This podcast will feature superhero guests that are currently disrupting the status quo in education through innovative and research-based practices who are inclusive and supportive of all learners. Today's superhero guest with us right now is Miss Bree Childs. She is the principal at Success Academy Boys and Girls Club. Bree has over 20 years of experience as an educator that is disrupting the status quo in education by leading a school that is using the Learn Outside or experiential approach. So let's get started first with our Learn Outside moment of the week. Dr. Nash, if you will start us.
Sure. I had a very exciting week. This past Tuesday, all of our K1 and 2 classes, over 300 students, loaded buses and drove all the way over to, all the way over to Trine University, where we had a day of STEM learning. We started with, when we got there, we started with lunch, which the kids just loved eating what they called the grown-up cafeteria. That was a big hit with them. And from there, we went to learning areas where we did STEM activities. The group I was with used dry pasta, spaghetti, in fact, and different sized marshmallows, and the task was build something. And I was so excited to see that all these weeks of engineering and thinking and creating and problem solving came to fruition right on the table. They were kind as team members to one another, made sure everybody was involved, had ownership in the process, and they were building these amazing triangular, multifaceted buildings and structures that was just phenomenal. All student driven, student centered, student engagement. It was phenomenal. I was very excited to see. I was very proud of them.
No, it sounds good. I know we were talking about this earlier and the whole cafeteria food. I remember back to my college days, the importance of that. But thanks so much for sharing your moment.
Yes, and the students, several students even said, well, now I'm going to go to college. Even at their 5, 6, 7-year-old, little lives that they have, they were so excited about this really amazing place they went.
Yeah, just to see what it looks like to be on a college campus is a big deal.
Yep, outside the classroom.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. Bree, how about you?
Oh my goodness, there's so many to choose from. I'm gonna have to go from a memory when I was teaching 5th grade. I was able to work with my colleagues in creating a neat geo-circus project that was based on geometry concepts. And our students were able to learn about circuses and geometry, and then we used recycled materials, and our students were able to create anything that they would like that would represent the circus. And in the end, we had a whole geo-circus. Our classrooms were turned into a circus. So we had a the big tent and the ringmaster, and all of our students' projects were showcased in each circus. And it was just such a great opportunity for our students to learn and grow and see, experience that authentic learning. It was so fun.
And to have such ownership and agency in the process.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love to hear those stories. The story that I'm going to share this week is my daughter's a film and television major at DePaul, and she was recently sharing with me a project that she is working on. It's an archival documentary, and she's in a group of 4 or 5 students. And so each student in the group has a job. One is a cinematographer, one is the producer or the director, one does sound, one does, whatever their roles are, not a film and television expert. But they're doing this archival documentary, and each student in the group had to come up with 2 ideas of what this documentary could be. And so they did that, then the group came together. They ended up choosing one of Selah's ideas, and hers was, that they ended up choosing was the Vietnam War, and kind of archival documentary through that. And my father fought in the Vietnam War, and so they are interviewing, and he has some old pictures. So they're going to interview him, they're going to interview my mom, and they're going to interview myself, and just walk us through the history and the timeline of that. But what I find so unique is, so you have students that are meeting new people and going through a historical event that they weren't born when this happened, right? So the only way that they're going to learn about this is to read about it or to see it on TV or the news or YouTube, whatever that might look like. And so it's bringing all of those pieces together, right? We know, David Cole brought us the 4 stages of experiential learning. So we have the concrete learning. We've got, help me, what's after concrete? We have our reflection, our reflective. And then we have our abstract concept, and then we experiment. And so I see these students, and I listen to each one of our stories, and I am able to see those 4 stages of experiential learning, which is very exciting. But guess what time it is? It's time to go to a commercial. So we will be right back.
Career Academy Business Office, where we take care of business. Yay!
This message has been brought to you by the Career Academy Business Office, where we take care of business. Yay.
And welcome back to Learn Outside. We have Bree Childs with us from Success Academy Boys and Girls Club at K5 Elementary here in South Bend. That's a part of the Career Academy network of schools. Before we jump into asking Bree some questions and to learn more about what's going on, just want to quickly review Kolb's 4 stages of experiential learning. So as we're talking and we're learning more about Success Academy Boys and Girls Club, we will be able to see how those 4 stages are taking place. And the first stage is concrete learning. And this is when a learner gets a new experience. Then we move on to reflective observation. This is where the learner reflects on their experiences personally. The third stage is abstract conceptualization. And this happens as the learner forms new ideas. And then the final stage is experimentation. And this is where the student has, or the learner has, the opportunity to apply their new ideas. So when we're looking at Success Academy Boys and Girls Club, and we're going to learn that they're a project-based, competency-based learning outside the walls, beyond the walls of the classroom, we're going to see these 4 stages taking place. So first, let's shift gears a little bit so we can learn more about Bree. Bree, if you could share a little bit with us about you and what has gotten you to this point in your career where you're leading such a unique opportunity.
Well, thank you for having me. This is such an incredible honor. I have been in education for over 20 years, and I've had a lot of amazing experiences, and I've had some really big challenges that I've encountered. I was at the height of my career and won an award for my teaching, and then the very next year experienced a traumatic brain injury where I had to learn how to do everything all over again. So I was really able to understand my learners and connect with them and work beside them in learning about their life and the things around them. So it's been a very incredible journey, and this inspired me to try something new, to break down the walls of that traditional classroom and making our community, their city, their classroom.
That's very exciting.
I like that. Say that one more time.
Our city, their classroom.
That
Our
is
city, their classroom.
That is powerful.
And that was created by Janet Scott, the mastermind behind all of this concept of making this work. Her daughter came up with that idea, and it just speaks and resonates so much power in that. So,
well, and you bring so much to that very concept of your own personal journey, which thank you for sharing that with us. That's powerful.
thank you.
Yeah, and I just think about the meeting that we sat in yesterday, and we're, talking about the niche that we fill, right? And we inspire learners, or we inspire all learners.
Yes.
And that inspiration comes from, what's your quote again?
Our city, their
Our
classroom.
classroom.
That's
So
amazing.
I love the connection of that, right? Because the inspiration is because the city is the classroom.
Yes.
Beyond the walls of the classroom, right?
Yeah, and I would like to even carry that one step more. We're inspiring learning and growth in all. It's a win-win for everyone.
That's right.
Yeah. So my next question is and you've kind of answered this, but if you want to dive a little bit deeper into it and what specifically within it, but what excites you about this opportunity?
Oh my goodness, just connecting and being able to give our students opportunities that they might not experience in life, and we're able to do that. We're able to break down barriers in education and give our students so many opportunities, and our community so many opportunities. As I said, it's a win-win. So when our students are investing in their own education and communities investing in their education, we hope that our students stay in South Bend and can add to the economic growth. It's just a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah, no, and you say that, and it makes me think, is having conversation with Larry, our founder, and he just had such a vision of, having an educational opportunity for students to be able to impact the economic growth and development within South Bend, which I just, that's just thinking beyond, right?
Yeah.
And really wants students to find what it is that they're passionate about and what really engages them. And I know, Dr. Nash, earlier you were identifying student agency and student ownership. And when we provide these opportunities, students really own that.
Because there's so many challenges. I know most of the students that went with us on Tuesday had never been to a university. They had no idea what that would look like and sound like and literally taste like. So that's important, as you're talking about these connections with things beyond the walls of the classroom. It's so important.
Yes. So that leads me into my next question. Talk to me about the project-based learning, about the competency-based learning, the experiences that students are going to get based on the scheduling that you're going to have at Success Academy Boys and Girls Club.
Yes, thank you. Our typical week would look like academic studies Monday through Thursday, and incorporating the ideas that the projects are based on within those days. But on Fridays, our students will go out in the community and be able to experience that project-based learning unit or concept that they're learning about, and really take an active role within the community and having our community members involved as well. So, for an example, we have a really cool project, a second grade project, and it's called A Toy Story.
It's called a what?
A Toy Story.
I love that.
That
I
is exciting.
love that.
And,
Isn't that fun?
I'm all about toys.
Oh my
I
goodness.
am too, right? I love that movie.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, our second graders will be partnering with preschool students, and they will have done some background knowledge and understanding toys, and they're going to be working with preschool students in creating an idea for a toy and to try to bring that toy to life. And so it's just amazing to be able to not only have children working together, but being able for that child to take that concept that they create together and turn it into a toy and build it and create it. And then eventually they will have that audience of the preschoolers to present their toy to that student. And the service learning aspect around that as well is going to Memorial Hospital and presenting their toys to the children's unit at Memorial. So
that really helps students have a purpose for all the work they're doing, rather than just put it in your backpack and take it home. It gives them that audience, the purpose, the drive. That is amazing.
And the memory, that memory will be everlasting.
That's
I mean,
right.
Just being a child and looking back at my experiences and memories of learning, this is going to be a really neat opportunity.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and what it makes me think of is, we've talked about it earlier, was Kolb's stages, right, of experiential learning, and you walked through them: the concrete, the reflection, the conceptualization, and then finally they get to experiment. They get to develop this and create this toy that they've developed the idea, working with, collaborating with children, and just what an incredible opportunity. I think you're right. They're going to remember it forever. It will be wonderful.
For sure.
And that's what learning is all about.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Well, and then just the other takeaway, like hearing the collaboration and the communication. So we talk about competencies and the 6 C's. And so the 6 C's, critical thinking, communication, collaboration, content, we're going through. And you're hitting the 6 C's as you're going through these projects too, which is just really, really powerful. Those are competencies we want our students to know as they're going off and growing and then going into their own careers.
Right. And eventually contributing to South Bend.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yes. All right. Well, it's that time again.
Yes.
All right. We're taking a commercial break for one of our superhero sponsors. We'll be right back.
Join the Career Academy IED class, where your imagination has no limits.
Career Academy Introduction to Engineering Design.
And welcome back to Learn Outside. Once again, we're sitting here with Bree Childs, the principal of Success Academy at Boys and Girls Club. We're going to continue our interview with her. All right, Bree, can you share with us your hiring staff? Staff have not necessarily taught experientially. This isn't something new, but it's not a model that we use because we're disrupting the status quo in education, right? And so we're using the Learn Outside model, the experiential approach. Can you tell me what professional developments or what strategies you're using so that your teachers feel empowered to use their superpowers to lead this education?
Absolutely. This is an effort in learning and growing all together. So really incorporating that in what we do is very important. Our professional development that we're offering, our new hires, obviously, the curriculum resources, they're going to be receiving professional development in that, so that would support that academic element. But with the project-based learning, we're bringing in PBL Works, and we're going to be working together as a unit in creating the next quarter's project-based learning activities. So it's an opportunity for us to all work together, but also, have that teacher autonomy to really tailor those concepts to each individual student.
Very good. Can you talk we talk about professional learning communities. Are you having any PDs around that? Is that playing a role in the model of education?
Yeah, absolutely. So our professional development opportunities for professional learning communities Our teachers and our entire team, including YDIs, those are youth development instructors. That is going to play a huge role in what we do. Partnering with the Boys and Girls Club, they're bringing in youth development instructors. They'll be working side by side with our teachers.
Oh, so wait a minute. I want to make sure I get this.
Yeah.
This is unique. I think you want to pay attention to this one. So we're in partnership with the Boys and Girls Club.
Yes.
Once again, we're in partnership with the Boys and Girls Club.
Yes. Yes.
That's right.
We are.
And they are providing YDIs, youth development instructors, that are going to work in a co-teaching model side by side with our classroom teachers.
Yes.
And our classroom teachers will be the leads.
Yes.
Okay. So what an incredible opportunity.
That's
Right.
amazing.
To have two instructional leaders working side by side with students every day. The
That's
impact
amazing.
of
Yeah.
that,
It
right?
is, yeah, and we really have to, foster those positive relationships, and that's what's going to build what we're doing.
Oh, wonderful. So talk to me about, you have PLC model, and so when will PLCs be held for the staff at SABGC?
PLCs will be held on Fridays. Fridays will be a day of planning, looking at data, planning our units and creating them, and looking at the assessments as well of how are we identifying if our students have mastered the standards that are incorporated into those project-based learning units.
And then, so while the teachers are spending a day in PLC and they're diving into the DeFore, right?
Oh, yes.
What do we want our students to know? How do we know if they know it? If they know it, what? And then if they don't know it, then what? Right? That's the work that's taking place.
Yes.
So then, where are the students? Where are the YDIs? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes. So while our teacher team is working together on Fridays, our YDIs are going to be taking our students out into the community so that they can apply what they've been learning in the classroom to their project-based learning assignment or unit.
That's I liked how that connects back to what you were saying earlier about the Toy Story project.
Yes,
All
absolutely.
those connections.
Yeah, so it's really important to recognize all of the parts that are working together in making this happen.
This brings me back to something I've heard you say before. You talk about connectors, and my understanding of that is exactly what you're saying, is that you have the teacher teams, you have the administration working with the teacher teams and the YDIs and the students and the community. It's just connections all the way. I love that it's breaking the isolation that is so often happening in classrooms these days. We have one adult, and it's exciting. This is refreshing to hear that you're really being a connector.
Oh, absolutely. And those partnerships are what is going to make this work. And it truly does take a village, and we have many children to positively impact.
Absolutely, and it goes, we've got the connectors, the authentic audience that we've talked about before, right?
That's right.
It just makes the learning relevant, real world, engaging,
That's
authentic.
Right.
and
Yes,
authentic.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
This might be a good time for you to talk about a word that you use that I love. Again, I know I'm saying all your words I love. This one is a term you use, Taylorism. Can you talk a little bit about that? That is so amazing. I love that term.
I learned that in one of my graduate studies. We were reading The End of Average, and it's by Todd Rose, and it spoke to me because the classroom has stayed pretty much the same from the beginning to now, and it focused on looking at students individually instead of the average student, and it inspired me to break down those walls and find a new box to create, and this is an incredible opportunity.
That's right. And it may not be a box once we get going
No.
here.
Who knows what
who
it's
knows
gonna-
what we'll be
Right.
doing. That's right. That's
Right.
exciting.
Yeah.
And like I said, I love that Taylorism term because it does, from everything we've said and shared today, we're doing that learn outside piece.
Yeah, and historically, Taylorism early on in education was training students to become workers in the factories. So those schedules and that structure incorporates that. But our students have evolved, and we need to evolve. And what a great opportunity to do so
That's
in
right.
South Bend.
That's right. Like we've talked before, you want problem solvers, people who are thinking, students who are thinking, and not, as we say, being a worker bee.
bees.
That's right.
Yep.
No, very good, very good. All right, we just have a couple of minutes left, so we want to wrap up a couple of important pieces.
Yes.
So you're wrapping up your hiring, and so there are, this is a unique, disrupting the status quo in education of what we know is important for students. That's really going to activate their superpowers as students and as educators. So what specifically, when you're hiring, are you looking for within those educators?
Well, this is an epic opportunity. I mean, this is a dream, and it's in motion now. So we are looking for rock stars in education. We need teachers who are so passionate about learning and growing, not only children, but themselves as well. And being able to really connect with others and partner with community members and really just come around every child to help them grow into being an amazing attribute for our city.
Yes, that's fantastic.
I appreciate you sharing that, because it's not, we don't expect the learners to already have these attributes. We just need them to have that growth mindset, a positive personality and a growth mindset.
Right.
And if we're, wanting our students to learn, we too have to learn and grow,
Absolutely.
right? And and the world has changed dramatically in the last, 5 years, let alone the last 20 years. And when we look at technology and we look at opportunity, and we still will see traditional education where students are sitting in uniformed rows and the teacher is imparting the knowledge, and students are bored out of their minds and they're not retaining the information. Where here, experiential approach, we're allowing students to reflect and create new knowledge, and then to build and design, learn what it is that they've just created. It's so exciting.
It is, and it takes courage, and growth is uncomfortable. And so, hey, this is a great opportunity to just do it together and see what happens. I can't wait.
I think it's messy beautiful.
It is.
It's messy because we're learning together, but it's beautiful because the depth of knowledge is like none other.
Absolutely. And we're taking a risk doing something totally out of the norm and bringing it to our students.
Breaking down that Taylorism.
Exactly.
Breaking down that Taylorism. I
Breaking
like
down
that.
those walls.
That's right.
Well, I just want to thank you so
thank
much
you.
for being on our episode
thank you.
today. And Dr. Nash and I have completely enjoyed our conversation.
It's been a wonderful time. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, back to our audience. Please join us next week with our guest superhero. We will have Rhonda Myers, and she is the multi-tiered Systems of Support Coordinator, where we will learn more about the whole child approach to learning outside for student engagement. Hope you all have a joyous Learn Outside week.
Yes.